My whole life, I've had big dreams. Deep down, I always felt like I was meant for some incredible adventure and to make a big impact in the world. I thought maybe I would be an actress or a Broadway singer. And then I realized what I really wanted was to be the writer behind great stories. But it always felt like there were things standing in my way. My small town was too small, and I didn't fit in. No matter how hard I pushed myself, it was never good enough for my mom. Love was conditional, and I never seemed to meet those conditions. A trip to Europe nearly broke me into pieces. Infertility, algorithms. I thought maybe I just wasn't pretty enough or smart enough. Maybe I wasn't worthy enough. Until I really started looking at the patterns of self-sabotage and fear and holding back and always trying to prove myself, and I realized that maybe the main thing standing in my way this whole time was me. So this is my commitment to get out of my own way and start living like I believe in those dreams again. This is Project 180. Hello, Project 180. It is day 34. I just went and got my nails done shorter, which makes it easier for me to type and write. But I wanted to send an update because, listen, the response to that first video kind of blew me away, and I am so very grateful for everybody who took the time to make a comment or hit a like or subscribe to the channel, because man, I'm telling you, I was so nervous to put that video out because I thought, oh my gosh, when you're in the middle of wanting to change your life and you're feeling sensitive and you're feeling vulnerable, the hardest thing is to get criticism from people telling you you're doing it wrong, or you should do it this way, or I'm tired of you trying new projects and other things like that. And to invite that stuff in by sharing it is a little bit scary, but I am overcoming that by saying I think there's more people who need to see this in real time than are going to criticize, and I was definitely right. So thank you for that, and thank you for the encouragement, and let's encourage each other, because I know so many of you said you're ready to go on this journey too. And let me tell you, I'm going to take you through my Notion today that I've been working on, as well as some of the trackers that I'm using to keep myself on track. But really, day 34. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, the first 30 days of this journey was about rest and recovery and letting go and really trying to get myself into the right mindset, because I don't know if I can properly say this exactly the way that I'm feeling it. However, I am practicing progress, not perfection, just sharing it from an authentic place rather than worrying about if it's going to be perfectly received or perfectly understood. But I'm going to try my best to say this in terms of what I've been working through, because it's less tangible result in terms of you can see that I've cleaned my house or I've gotten this thing done. But my purpose with Project 180 is to make a change in my life where I'm starting to really become the person that I have always wanted to be, and to have that vision, not just of some to-do list, but of not just what I want to do, but who I want to become. A to-be list, so to speak. I want to be the kind of person who shares authentically, who feels good most of the time, who creates amazing things out of my brain and sees them someday on a movie screen or a TV screen. I want to be the kind of person who shows up at conferences with just pure joy and excitement to learn. I want to be the kind of person who is so excited for my work that I cannot wait to get up every morning and start learning or start writing or start sharing. I want to be a really good mom. I want to be the kind of mom who nurtures my kids and watches them grow into their full potential, although we're going to talk about the word potential coming up in a future video. But as best they can, they feel like they're always safe to just be themselves. There are certain things, and of course I am already being that to a degree, but I want to be that without doubt and without worry and without fear that I'm not going to live up to what I dream I can be. And so when I think about that and I think about the work that needs to be done, it's not just clean my house, take care of my body, sit down and write, although that is a piece of it. It's also learning to believe in myself so much that it does not matter what the external result of my work so far is. So to believe in my stories so much that it doesn't matter how many books they're selling right now, but I know eventually they're going to find the right readers and they're going to find the right home, and to keep creating out of pure love and excitement rather than allowing myself to go down this pattern that I've seen over and over in my life, where it's like I produce something, I wait to see how it's doing, and if it's not doing what I thought it was doing, I start to doubt myself, and then I start to think, how can I create for the market? How can I create for other people? And it's not so much that that is like the wrong thing to do, but it's just that I know from my own intuition that the things that are going to do best for me, that I'm going to be most proud of, are not things that I created out of fear that it wasn't good enough, but rather things I created because I was so passionate and excited to create them that they just poured out of me. And there was a time in my life when that was true, and those have created my biggest successes of my life. And over time, the more success you get, ironically, the more you start to worry about how you're going to be perceived. At least that has been my experience. And you can let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. And I just feel like I'm coming out of that cycle again, where I realize that I'm holding myself back, and I'm so ready to start believing in myself again. Because if I say, I want to be a best-selling author who has a line down the block with people waiting to buy my next book, if there's a part of me that believes that that's bullshit and there's no way that I'm ever going to have that because I'm not good enough, and who are you to dare dream of that? And then there's people online who say, oh, well, she's nothing and nobody likes her books. Then I can begin through my own like mental filtering to only see evidence that I'm not good enough, that that dream's never going to come. So then when I sit down to write, I'm not approaching it from this place of, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to write this. I'm approaching it from a place of hearing all those critics in my voice, like those voices of the critics in my head, and hearing all those doubts and thinking of how I need to change who I am to try to better please other people. And that is not where my magic lives, right? That's not where my authenticity lives. So I've got to learn to get away from that and to say, I believe in myself, and I am having so much fun with this work, and I am so filled up with passion and excitement for who I'm going to be and the stuff that I'm creating in the world, that I am only looking for evidence that I'm doing a good job at that. I'm not sure, like I said, if that fully makes sense or if that sounds a little crazy or delusional, because I know we do have to take the market into consideration. We do have to think about numbers, and we have to look at the results of what we're doing, because if you're going to market and you're going to run a business, these things matter. But I just don't want it to matter the most. What I want to matter the most is how I feel about myself and how I feel on a daily basis. So anyway, the first 34 days have been about rest, grief, recovery. And then the last maybe 10 days for me have been about working on that mindset. Really and truly, like I've been sleeping 9 to 10 hours a night and just allowing myself to rest. I've been playing video games and just allowing myself to learn and read. And I've been setting up my Notion. I've been setting up my new, like, I don't have a new tablet. I have a tablet that's a couple of years old, but I just wiped it and totally set up a new aesthetic, which gave me a lot of dopamine and excitement. I've been thinking about designing my workspace differently and getting, more and more ideas. Like George and I went on a date night and we worked nonstop on my story and came up with this huge twist that has gotten me so excited for writing again. And I just think this last 10 days hasn't been a lot to show in a vlog per se, but it's just been about, let me get back to a place where I am refilling my own well and just thinking about believing in myself again. And that is the first step. So I have just gotten my nails done. We are going on vacation in 2 days, which I know we are so lucky to get to go on vacation this year. We're going to the beach, and we are so excited for it. We have like a 10-hour drive on Saturday and Sunday, and we've got a lot of stuff to set up. But this next 10 days of Project 180 is still about just refilling my well, believing in myself, getting myself really centered on the interior, and beginning to design routines that I think are really going to make a big difference in my future. Because I am seeing this sort of beach trip as a line in the sand. Like, we get home from the beach and then it will be officially summer season, summer solstice, like a month and a half of just kids home, allowing myself to write, that sort of mid-year feeling. I've got a lot of business things coming up, like HB90 is currently running if you want to come join us. We've also got follow through fixes launching again, Publish and Thrive, Rough Draft Challenge. So there's lots of things that are going on, and I just want to be able to approach every piece of it from a place of I'm so excited for this. And so having this a time to rest, which, you know, is not always easy for me to rest, it has been really, really helpful. But also just having the freedom to sit down and talk to you guys about what I'm going through and what I'm hoping for is also super helpful. So anyway, long little car chat here. Maybe we'll just have a car chat every episode. I'm gonna return some stuff, get some things, like my son needs new socks. He's growing like crazy. He's almost 5'11", which is just wild. This time last year, I think he was shorter than me, and now he's 5'11". It's so crazy how fast they grow. So we're gonna get some stuff we need for the beach, and then this afternoon when I get home, I'm gonna go all in on cleaning and organizing and starting to pack. So I'm gonna share with you my Notion setup for tracking Project 180, how I set up my sticky notes for that, my planner, and all those things, and kind of what my plans are for the next couple of weeks before I see you again. All right, let's go. All right, we are home from all the errands that I was running, and we are way off schedule. It is summer and we have just eaten lunch and it's 2:30. I don't know. Our schedule just goes out the window. It'll be fine, but the house is a mess. There are donations places. There's stuff we're getting ready for the beach. There's stuff that we need to wash. There's just like play stuff out everywhere. We still have like a bag of stuff that we brought home from North Carolina. There's an entire thing of Hello Kitties here that I don't know where I want to keep them because we're moving them out of the game room. So I basically just got a trash bag, an empty trash bag, and I'm going to go through with Evie and we're going to set a 45-minute timer, and we're just going to do as much as we can out in this entryway. And really, as part of a 180-day project, the reason that it's so nice to have a full 180 days is because I feel like before, when I've done like 2-week sprints or changed my life in 3 months, you know, whatever, you can really do significant amount. But when you have a full 6 months to really focus on things, it gives you that freedom to just go in and really do a deep dive into something without feeling like you're rushed and it has to get done as fast as possible. However, part of the goal right now is just to get ourselves ready for this vacation, and then we can come home and take things station by station. So it's kind of like clearing away the top layer, and then we'll go deeper as we get into the 6 months. So like I said, we're 34 days in, so we have just under 150 days remaining. So I know I can make a lot of change and a lot of difference in 150 days, but I'm not going to do it all myself. I'm going to enlist the family and delegate where I can, which is another part of growth for me, instead of just being like, I've got to fix it all myself. So we're diving in. Andrew is in the car vacuuming it out. George is filling up the tires. He's taking the car out to get the tires aligned, everything else like that. And Evie and I are going to clean. And when I'm done with this section, we're going to go look at my Notion setup, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of my other goals for the 6 months.
Come a little closer. I wanna dance with you. Everything's moving slower. I don't know what it is you do. I've been looking at you all night, trying to figure you out. I just wanna make you smile. Hold your hand in my hand, looking at the sunset. Man, you're looking good tonight. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing that's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Falling in love. You set my wheels in motion.
45 minutes are up and I am sweating, but I ended up putting up Andrew's like graduation board and Evie's little board for her star of the week, but otherwise got a lot of stuff cleaned up. There's also a lot of things that were from George's mom that we took from her house that we just kind of set up here, but I didn't even get to touch this side. So I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So we basically got all of this done and the floor here and almost an entire bag of trash and recycling. So that is pretty crazy, but now I still have a ton of stuff to do here. A lot of this is things that I have just pulled out of the closet and then started going through but didn't get finished with. So I'm definitely going to try to finish this. And I lost Evie. She kind of, it's hard to keep a 6-year-old engaged, but she did help for a little while. So my goal is to get this area done, and then maybe tonight we'll work on the main area over there. I have been setting aside a bunch of stuff over here in this section for the beach. So that is stuff that's going to get done or taken with us as we begin to pack. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to set another 30-minute timer and get through as much of this as possible. I will say this entire box, other than a few things that people have set on top, is Hello Kitties that I've been collecting for years. And I was thinking, now my office here is a complete wreck, so don't judge that. But I was thinking of setting the Hello Kitties up there, like as a display up on top, but there is like a little section here that it sort of drops down a little bit. So some of the smaller ones, I might have to put like cardboard up there so they sit right. But what do you think of that idea? I haven't fully committed to it. So I'm probably, since I'm not going to be cleaning this room before we leave, I'm probably just going to take that box and put it in the corner here, because this room will get completely reset. I'm actually just going to completely reset my Kanban boards next week after we get home from the beach, because I just like, I don't know, you can kind of see how it's been going. This is all writing. And so I've gotten stuff done, but I just haven't been writing as much as I intended. And I feel like I'm so sick and tired of that being the case, but nobody is going to change that for me but me. So I got to get working on this. So my goal when I get back from resting at the beach is hopefully to have some of this writing done. But also, if you're new to my channel, you've never seen this before, I have this system called HB90. It's 90-day goal setting. And I set all my goals for the 90 days and I break those goals into small tasks. And then over the 90 days, I have to do are at the top, doing is in the middle, and the done stuff is at the bottom. So here we are in the 3rd month of the quarter. Most of this to do should already be at the bottom, and it is over here, but not over here. So I'm just ready for a total reset, and I want to come into it with a fresh mindset of what is actually going to match my capacity rather than just what do I want to get done. My creative capacity, my emotional capacity, my actual bandwidth, what can I actually get done, and set the most realistic plan ever for Project 180, and really just entering it with a new mindset. So as soon as I get back from the beach, I'm going to clean this room and reset my board along with my next students in HB90. So I'm looking forward to that, but don't have to deal with that today. But I do want, my poor snake plants are dying. I don't even know what to do with those. If you have tips on how to save snake plants, let me know. But I've got half of the room done and half of the room not done. So let's set another 30-minute timer, and then I'll show you guys my Notion setup.
The ocean, I can see you want this too. 'Cause you've been looking at me all night, trying to figure me out. I just wanna let you know, and I ain't playing no games, baby, you won't change. I only want you. I wanna kiss you before the sun goes down. It's what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing that's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love. Yeah, I'm falling in love.
I don't know if you could see it. I'm just like sweating so much. We have air conditioning, but it's just a lot of movement trying to get it done. So we have clean stuff, which feels really good. This suitcase, sits out here because Evie likes to pretend she's a dragon and she flies on it. So that stays here. But otherwise, this entryway looks really good. We just need to sweep the floors, which I will let George do. So I think this is part of changing your life, is just understanding that you cannot snap your fingers and your habits will be different and your home will be different in a day. And so it requires consistent patience over and over and over again to say, okay, this is good enough. This is enough for today. I'm so proud of myself, to really pat yourself on the back for doing it, but then also to make sure that you are building in the capacity to maintain things as you go. And this has been a big part of why I clean and then it gets messy, and I clean and it gets messy. And I know that I have to just love myself through it, because a lot of the like clutter and other things come from CPTSD, which is a year ago diagnosis for me. I'm still working through it. I'm working with a therapist. I've worked with lots of different types of therapy to get through this, but this is the first time I'm really working on how do I declutter and then not, I guess almost how do I declutter and feel worthy of having a clean space afterward? And that is going to take time. So now that this is at least manageable, I will do my best to maintain it and then move on to another space and then do my best to maintain it. And as I go, build in routines for keeping it the way that it is. And, you know, there's going to be times when I fail at that, and I have to love myself through it anyway and not make it mean something about who I am as a person or what my worth is as a person, and instead just keep moving forward. So this is the first space. We'll just have a lot of focus on cleaning, which I feel like is really the beginning of my game board, which segues well into explaining what my game board is and showing it to you on the computer. How am I tracking my progress? So if you've been around for any amount of time, you know that I am a planner girl at heart, true to my bones. So I've got to have some ways to track it. I did set up a Franken planner, Erin Condren, that I think I talked about in one of my previous videos. So I'll find that and link it below, but I will walk you through it if you want to see a fresh walkthrough of how that's going. It's basically a vertical, planner that I used for like memories and things like that, keeping track, as well as a daily duo that I'm using to track each day and how I feel and my symptoms and things like that. And so far it's going pretty well. Haven't been perfect about tracking every day, but it's been pretty good. The other thing that I've been using is this set of poster board where I just basically took different Post-it notes and I put them in rainbow order. I don't know that I'll do that for the next 30 days or so, but I started with day 18 when I was on May 18th. I had just gotten back from the funeral and I set it up. Today is actually day 34, so I need to mark off day 33. I've just been putting my weight on here since that's an easy thing to track in terms of some of the progress, but for the most part, it's just a visual cue of how far I've come. I thought about, should I do a downward countdown, like 180 days to go, 150 days to go, 130 days to go, or count up like day 1, day 2, day 3. I decided to count up so that I could see how far I've come and kind of do that mental math of how far is yet to go. Before we move on to my Notion that I've set up, I'm going to also just talk for a second about what I mean by game board strategy. So I have always been somebody that has a lot of different projects on my plate, and I tend to jump around when I get excited for something, but I can't always hit my deadlines because I can say I want to work on a book, but if the story is not coming together, I really can't rush it. It just needs the amount of time that it needs. And so I can't always say, okay, I'm going to write this book and it's coming out June 1st. I've never been that kind of writer. I just need to try to get myself into a place of excitement for it and then work on it as much as I can. And then the book is done when the book is done. But I still needed for my business to be able to set some goals of what I was going to work on and how my year was going to look. And so what my business mentor, Amber, and I came up with was this idea of a game board where you have yourself as the business or yourself as the avatar, your little car or the horse or whatever it is in a game like Monopoly. And you think about, okay, I'm going to work on this one and then I'm going to roll the dice and see how my capacity is and how my inner creativity is and all of that, how my health is going. And I'm going to move as many spaces forward as I can. But in this way, I won't necessarily know when things are getting done, but I will have an idea of the order of operations, meaning I know what comes first, what comes second, what comes third, and then I just work on them as I can. So it's like moving yourself across a game board. You can also think of it like dominoes, that you have all these dominoes set up, and when you knock one over, it knocks the next one over, and then it knocks the next one over. And so I've worked on a system for myself to create a game board strategy where I look at all the things I want to accomplish, and instead of worrying so much about when things get done, I think more about the strategic order of how they're getting done. And I know that's just a simplified overview, but I'm going to show you how I take that concept and put it into practice inside my Notion. Okay, so I have not really been inside Notion for a while, and it just felt so good and fresh to come back in. Now, I know that for many people, Notion becomes a real rabbit hole, so I'm by no means saying that you need to use Notion. It just was really calling to me as a place that I could really keep track of my goals and visual. I'm such a visual person, like visually be able to see the full roadmap of my 180 days and to make it just look beautiful and appealing and have kind of a dashboard where I was keeping track of it. And like I said, I am also keeping track of it with various paper products and other things like that. And I know that there's a real danger to tracking it in too many places. However, the more places that I can see it and stay connected to my dreams, the less likely I am to fall off track or forget what I was trying to work on. So this is actually very motivating for me, but we're all different. So if this feels like too much, just don't do it. But if also you feel like there are other people telling if you feel like there are people constantly telling you you're too much, then let me be your permission to just be as much as you want to be and to do it the way that you want to do it and go all out. So this is my Project 180 Me in Progress Notion dashboard. So I just had a Canva file that I took at the top and made a banner to put some various things on here. This image of my office is mine. The rest of the images don't belong to me here. I just grabbed them off of Pinterest. I also grabbed this little, just a photo of a crown because my word of the year is sovereign. So I put that on there as the page icon. I grabbed this GIF of Cinderella, which is a very glow up kind of moment. It's also on my computer, and it's also the little part of my phone. I don't know that you can see that, but it's the GIF on my phone screen as well. So it's really inspiring me right now. Then I also used Indify. I'll link this down below to create this little widget for a countdown to Project 180. So I have 146 days remaining, which when you think about 180 down to 146 feels like, okay, I am feeling the movement, the velocity. Let's get this going. Then I have this middle section that just says vision for my life. And this is not my game board yet. This is more just my dashboard for the areas of my life that I would like to improve over the next 180 days in terms of what's my dream life? Who do I want to become? I did put this little quote here that says, my energy is magnetic. I align with everything meant for me, which is really going back to this feeling of I trust and believe in myself. I was thinking about calling this self-love summer. So I'll talk about that more in a future video, but just really feeling like I'm going to move away from apologizing and trying to create things that are what other people expect from me on the timeline they expect it, and just getting back to the truth of I create when I'm inspired to create and trust that that will be enough for the right people. And so that's really what this is, just getting back to a place where my energy feels really aligned. I also grabbed this cute little picture of a desk from Pinterest as well. And then I created this dashboard. The vision for my life is actually a gallery. So when you create a database on Notion, you can create it in a gallery view. And so that's what I've done here. And then I created these cards inside Canva that have this little Polaroid. If you guys want I don't I know some people said, are you going to do a template for the Notion? Let me know if you guys would like a template for this. It's very, very simple, but I can just take it and make it duplicatable. I don't know if that's the right word, where you can just duplicate this. So let me know if you'd like for me to set that up for you. I can also give you these Canva files that just have the Polaroid picture on it. Most of these pictures are also from Pinterest, but some of them, like this is my house, this is me and my daughter, this is my Kanban board. But I just grabbed these to indicate these various areas of my life. And I'm still working to fully set it up the way that I want to interiorly. So I feel like I'm just making up words all over the place. But home is a project that's all about really just getting my house to the place that I want it to be. I have such a beautiful home. I worked so hard my whole life to get to a place like this. And then because I am so busy and I'm still dealing with my own trauma, I have carried old patterns of not being able to keep things clean. And it's not just a matter of like being more disciplined. It's a matter of true healing in myself. And, you know, my husband, God bless him, is very, very patient with me, but he's also very minimalist and he doesn't have much stuff. So most of the house is taken over by my stuff and the kids' stuff. And I just want to create for all of us a home that feels put together, where I don't feel like I'm rushing around trying to find my purse at the last minute, or where I don't know where things go, or that I have too much stuff that I don't actually need, or that I'm continuing to buy stuff. I just want to feel centered in my home. And so right now, all I've done is mark out all of the places in the house, like every room in the house. And then what I will do over time is when I get to this section and I'm ready to really deep clean it, I'm going to take some before photos. I'm going to make a checklist, like a task list, and then I'm going to put some after photos, and then it'll be done. So that's the home section. The health section, again, is I did make this little banner at the top with a little bow. So I did add a little bit here. And then I have these meal planners and a routine tracker that I had purchased on Etsy last year. So I'll see if I can find a link for you to these things. So this is basically just a planner where you can put in like your nutrition goals and your breakfast and what you're eating in terms of your meals. This is not my stuff. This is just from that template. And I haven't had time. You'll see on my game board when I get to this, and I'm not there yet, but I haven't had time to put in my own like recipes and images and things like that. So I just linked to it from that template that I purchased. And then there also, in that same glow up template that I purchased, was this section on routines. And this is something I really, really want to hone in on. And I have just sort of a feeling sometimes of like to routine or not to routine. That is the question. Is I know, according to my human design and according to my past experience, I am not really the kind of person who likes to have a 10-step morning routine that I follow every single time. I will eventually get very bored of that and I just won't stick with it. However, I do think that there are certain habits that I can do, even if I'm not doing them in the exact same order, just like a general writing routine, a general morning routine, a general wind down evening routine. And some of these things are already set in place, but I would like to make them really fit my life. And so this will be something I'll come in and fill out and change and adjust to my own self. I probably also in this health section will put some exercise stuff. So there's nothing in here for exercise yet, but I'm going to try to put together my own template. But I haven't gotten to the space on my dominoes, my game board, where I'm really working on movement yet. But I do know that I want to train for a 5K, and I also want to get back to some jazzercise and daily walks, or several times a week walks with the family. So that will all get moved into the health section, as well as some glucose tracking, which I'll talk about in a minute. Mindset, also, I don't have anything in here just yet, but this is going to be like things like meditating and really working on reading books and listening to podcasts that support that self-belief, that self-love. It's also about going to therapy every week. I work with a coach, a mindset coach, and I also have lots of tools that I've used in the past, and meditation being one of the first that I'm going to lean into besides just the therapy and coaching. But that will all go into there, and I'll set that up as I need it. writing. This one is one that I do actually have set up pretty well. So I've got the string along the top. Those are all my actual photos that belong to me. And then I have reset my old writing board. So raise your hand if you've been here long enough to have seen my previous Notion writing, which was probably like 3 or 4 years ago that I shared that. Well, I have since written and published several more books and have gotten back to hopefully filling this out. So I'm hoping I can keep track with it, but I've got all my series that I've written out here. So all of this is books that I have written or that I plan to write soon. And then down here, I have a writing journal, and the writing journal is something I have just recently set up, even though it's June. So I won't have this backtracked in, but in the month of June, for example, if you come in here, you can see that I'm working on the Shadow Game series, A Throne of Thorns. I'm hoping to draft it. My goal is to have the draft completed by the end of the month at 75,000 words. I have calculated according to my average sprint that I need about 140 sprint sessions, which means a 30-minute session to finish the draft. And then I also have a little property here that says it's month 6, which is what keeps it on the calendar in the right space. Then I have these templates inside here. Okay, so click on my monthly template and it brings up a monthly word count tracker, which I will need to go in each month and shift it according to being a June tracker instead of a September tracker. And then there's a little space here that I can put my intention for the month. And you can see I'm still working on this because I am just taking this, instead of trying to do everything all at once and feeling overwhelmed, I'm taking it one small step at a time. So I'm setting up little pieces here as I need them, and then I'm refining it as I go. So if I share this as a template, I don't know which pieces you would want, or if you want to wait until it's completely done, but just let me know in the comments. But here will be a place where I will track, like if I'm working for the day, I'll put which it's A Throne of Thorns, how many words I wrote, how many sprints, how much time I spent, what writing stage I was in, like was I drafting or plotting or publishing, and then I can leave some notes out here about my progress. And I would like to keep that will be all in one major database for the year, but just organized according to month on these monthly pages. So I've got that. Then I also have a, this is book 12 sprint tracker at the top, but I also have this monthly calendar down here. So when I put in what I wrote for the day, it will actually show up in this word count tracker, because the database that's linked in here, this word count tracker, is the same one as this one down here. So it will show up when I start writing, and I'll update you guys how this looks once I'm actually filling it in instead of it just being a thought. But this is my writing tracker, and I used to, for about 6 months to a year, keep up with this so well that it was just so satisfying to keep up and see it every day. And then I just stopped. And so I'm excited to get back to it for sure. And inside all of these little sprint trackers, or inside the book sections, is just notes about those series. So I'm not going to share that, but I think that's really cool. And it looks really good. So that is the writing section. Wealth, I don't have anything in here. Oops. Started making a template. I don't have anything in here just yet, and I'm not even close to really thinking about any new investments or anything. The only thing I'm working on kind of here at the beginning is just less spending, right? Learning is starting my Zettelkasten for one, which I have finally started. I cannot wait to share some videos on that. But also I have a list of all the courses that I have purchased, some of which I have finished and taken, some of which I have not. So I want to start really going through those courses as a way to refill my well and start my Kanban board. And there's also going to be a list of books there that I want to read for craft. So that will be on there as well. Entertainment. This is really about refilling my well and just reading more, gaming more, watching more movies, because I tend to be the type of writer that the more I consume ideas from other people, the more inspiration I get for my own stuff. And as I've been so focused on creating new videos, creating new stuff for YouTube, creating new courses, I have just gotten away from being able to read and listen and watch as much as I used to. So we're going to get back to a lot of that. I, at one point when I was on a buying spree on Etsy, had purchased an entertainment tracker as well. So this is not my creation. I will see if I can link this down below. It was like a Studio Ghibli themed entertainment set, and there's a spot for books, movies or shows, music, a release calendar for anything you've been looking forward to, a mood board if you wanted to put that on here. But this entertainment tracker is pretty detailed, so I haven't done anything to customize it for myself, but I did link it from the previous one. I had also purchased a reading journal at one point, and this reading journal is so cute, and even has like a little Spotify playlist on it. And like I said, this is straight from the Notion template that I purchased. This is not customized by me, but I love how once you are starting to fill it in, you can see like your progress on a book, you can see your star rating, you can look at the tropes that you've enjoyed, the series that you're in the middle of. And at one point I had thought about tracking this in a digital, like on my tablet, but I really think this Notion template is going to be amazing for it. So I will link the Notion template below if it's still available. I'm probably going to customize it quite a bit with my own photos and stuff like that, but I'm excited to get that started whenever I'm ready for it. Then catch up. So catch up is mostly, I didn't even do a database. I just did a little to-do list. The idea behind this is there are always things I feel like I'm behind on. I finished my one-on-one here. We're still setting up things. I forgot to do a BCS wallpaper, so I need to do that. So yeah, I got at least one thing done, but there's anytime I think of something that I'm like, oh man, I forgot to do that, or I'm behind on that, especially when you're really low energy or you're burned out, it can be really hard to keep up with things that you promised. And so that catch up is a way for me to be like, okay, I am moving forward on things that I felt like people were expecting from me. And then I have a little manifestation section that doesn't yet have anything in it, but this is going to be when I was talking about all the things that I want to do and be in my life, that I'm going to have a mood board, basically like a vision board inside that manifestation. And we're going to start to see those things come true. So I'm excited for all of that. And as you can see, some of this is set up and it's ready to go, and some of it really needs a lot more customization. Another thing that I set up here is my Project 180 game board. So I'll click on that last, but I also have a daily journal where this is just the daily journal and the habit tracker are things that I can just see at a glance. And all I have to do each day is click new page. And actually, I think there is a way to have it auto populate so I don't have to click anything, but I just haven't figured that out yet. This is like one of the Notion features that's come out since I last used it. So if anybody knows, send me a little tutorial on that if you find one, but I just need to look into it. So this little journal part, I put the date and I put what day it is. So it's the 34th day out of my 180 days. And that's how it knows how many days remaining. And then this 3 little trackers are from my Aura ring. So I got an Aura ring for our anniversary this year, and I'm tracking both my Aura stats as well as I'm wearing a glucose monitor that goes along with the Aura ring called the Stello. And so I'm keeping track of those stats here. So this is the readiness score, my sleep score, and my activity score, as well as my glucose percentage of time that I spent within a normal range. So when I first got my glucose monitor, y'all, pre-diabetes, on my way towards diabetes, I was at 50% of the time I was above glucose range and 50% of the time under. So I've made massive progress because I've been more in this 70 to 80% range, but I would really like to see myself being like 80 to 90% or more in my glucose target. So that is a goal that I'll share with you in a minute. I'm also tracking, like, did I have high energy or low energy? And this week I did have to go and get a biopsy. So I have been very low energy. I have been sleeping a lot, which is why I had like a 90 sleep score, and just kind of resting. So today was the first day back that I'm like, okay, my energy feels like it's good today. Habit tracker. This is basically just the 6 main habits that I have every day, actually 7: journaling, meditation, walking, writing, learning, cleaning, and updating my planner and my trackers. So I have this little code in here that tracks my progress, like 43% done. Today is a good day. And you can see low energy day, 43% was my capacity for the day. Today, high energy, I'm at 86%. All I have to do is write, and I'm hoping to get some writing done tonight, and then I'll be at 100% for the day. And I just want to keep track of that over time. This is sorted so that I only see the current week, and you can see I didn't even do anything for June 1st. It just didn't get in there. So I'm not worried about being perfect. I just want to try to be as consistent as possible and give myself that data. So then the final thing in here is the Project 180 game board. So these are the dominoes. So this is the order that I'm keeping things at a priority. So for example, true rest ended up being the beginning of my Project 180. I had COVID, we had a death in the family, and then I had a hard time coming home and kind of getting back into the groove because we were all grieving and things were difficult. And so it was like, okay, this is just a time of true, unexpected, but guilt-free rest. And so that I put that as my number one domino. And inside here, I put the day that it started and the day it completed. And I counted today, June 4th, as the day I completed it, because today was the day that I no longer have any sleep debt according to my Aura ring. So I'm like, okay, we're going to say the rest time is over, not to mean that I don't need more rest in the future, but just I feel like I completed this. So I just write here what the project really means to me and then any tasks that I need to complete. So I did eliminate my sleep debt. I got back to what I feel like is a pretty good baseline health. I passed a bunch of tasks on to my team and set all of that up in Asana. I found a comfortable pillow, and I have been sleeping 8+ hours a night regularly. So I feel like I completed all of that. So one of the things that I'm going to do here every time I achieve that thing on the game board, like knock over that domino, so to speak, is I'm going to upload a version of this rest domino with the word completed over the top. And I just made that in Canva. So then I can see as I get things done that I'm making progress over the course of the 180 days. And this is just the beginning of the game board. And once I get some of these other things locked in, I'll add more and more and more to this game board. And I will eventually tie this into some of like the health and other pieces of that vision board at the front. So I know it's hard to see the vision. I see it in my head. But anyway, the next thing that I've been focused on is a base level clean. And I wrote out what that means to me. It's like baseline clean is just cleaning and organizing the things that I can see, not inside the drawers, not deep inside the closet, not every single nook and cranny of the house, but just the basics of what we see. And we've been kind of working on a little bit, but over the next couple of days, we're trying to hit it harder so that when we come home from the beach, everything is done. So I don't know if we're going to get there, but I finished my bedroom, the kids' rooms, the kids' bathrooms. They worked on the cars today, and we just finished, as you could see, the entryway. But there's still a lot more, several more rooms to get done. So we're going to try to get a few more done today, a few more done tomorrow. We have time on Saturday morning. So I'm hoping I can finish all of this before we leave so that when we get back from the beach, I can move on to the next piece. Now, the way the dominoes and the game board work is sometimes I'm working on multiple at a time. And even when I completed the rest, I will still continue to try to maintain 8 hours of sleep a night for the entire 180 days as best I can. But it's just a marker of like, okay, you've got that habit down. Now maintain it as we continue to move on. So even once the house is base level clean, I still need to maintain it. And then as I go, I'll see like, how well am I doing maintaining this over time? The spark, this for me is all about refilling my well. So we were talking about the more I can refill my well, get excited for the future, the more I'm going to be writing and inspired to create. And so that's what I've been working on. So I have been playing Expedition 33. It's not finished yet, but I am going to set up my laptop so I can play it while we're at the beach. I finished Wheel of Time Book 8. I went to Becca's conference and I started my Zettelkasten. I can also write on here, read Wheel of Time Book 9. I'm about halfway through it now. So I do have a reading section too, but this kind of coincides with just refilling my well. So I probably won't add all the books to this, but I am making progress on this one as well. Meditation, once I feel like the house is base level clean, I'm going to start really working on the meditation. And I did already do a couple of them. I did an entire series on nervous system resets. And then I also did a Future You walking meditation from Joe Dispenza. But there's a group that I'm a part of called To Be Magnetic. It's TBM, or if you've ever listened to their podcast, it's called the Expanded Podcast. But they have a membership called The Pathway. And it's a bunch of what they call deep imaginings, or DIs, which are basically like hypnosis and meditations that are like somatic healing, neuroplasticity, system rewiring, stuff like that. And it's a lot of the healing work that I do, or I need to do. And they have a new challenge coming up for the summer that's called the Be Seen Challenge. And so I'm working on the pre-work this week, and then week 1 starts next week. So I'm working on the meditation as we go as well. In the reading section, I have a few other books that I'm reading. I've been working on Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and writing routine will be the next thing. So I have been working on my writing, but I haven't really gotten myself back into a routine. So once I get these dominoes knocked over, I feel like my well is full, the house is clean, I've been meditating and reading, then I'll start working on my writing routine. Then I will move on to that glucose monitor, trying everything I can. Like, I'm going to experiment. I don't know yet exactly what my body will respond to in terms of exercise and food intake and various things. So I'm just going to be keeping a food journal, and I'm going to do an elimination diet to try to figure out what is triggering really high glucose for me. Because like some people say, oh, you can eat oats. Oats are a really low glycemic thing, but oats send my blood sugar through the roof when they're like overnight oats. So I know I can't have that. So it's just a matter, I could have it in moderation, but it's a matter of just figuring out personally for my body, since I have this glucose monitor, what is triggering high glucose spikes and what is keeping me in range, and how can I play around with foods that I really enjoy in order to like cook new things, try new things, just expand my cooking skills and ability to be able to keep my glucose range at like 90% in range. That is the goal. Then also combining that with movement, like walking every day, getting on the treadmill, doing some weights and some strength training. And I really want to get into Pilates. So kind of starting on a very slow baseline Pilates. Those are the steps or the dominoes that I have in place right now. And then once I start knocking those over, I'm going to get more specific. So the baseline clean in this new page will become really like deep clean the bedroom, deep clean the bathroom, go through every single drawer. And I'm going to go through the whole house that way. And then I might add another reading section where I put another different book on there, or a specific book on there. And I'm just going to focus on, over the course of the next 180 days, adding to that game board step by step by step, so that eventually these like 9 areas of my life are exactly where I want them to be. So that's my Notion template. That's my game board strategy. That's my whole plan for the next 180 days / 146 days remaining. And it feels really good, I have to say. All right, that's the plan. That's the project. And I know that over the course of the next 5.5 months, it's going to be, or 5 months, I guess now, it's going to be ups and downs. But I also know that it's going to be so worth it. I am not giving up on myself. And I have to tell you, there were definitely times over the past year or so where I just thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to really be the person that I want to be. I don't know if I'm capable of seeing these dreams come true. And I just finally hit a point where I was like, it's up to me if these dreams are going to come true. And I'm not going to let anybody stop me if it's what I really want. And it is what I really want. This is who I want to be. And I am on my way. And I know I'm not going to be perfect. And I'm not going to do it the way somebody else wants me to do it. And I'm not going to show up exactly the way everybody else wants me to show up. But I'm going to do this for me. And I'm going to bring you guys along with me. So if you're in it and you're trying the Project 180 and you are working on some goals for yourself. Let me know if this was helpful, if there's anything in particular you want to see as I go on this journey. I am heading to the beach on Saturday, so I will record a little bit. I don't know if there will be a new video up next week, maybe the week after, as I share some of the writing and other things that I got done at the beach. Maybe I'll vlog some of that experience there. But videos might be a little bit slower to come out here and there while I am really working on myself. But I promise that I will bring the best of myself as often as I can to this channel. So hit subscribe, come join us in the HB90 Bootcamp if that sounded interesting to you, because we start class right when I get back from the beach, June 14th. If you're on my newsletter list, I sent you a link to that, or you can find a link for more information down in the description here. And let me know what your goals are, what you're working on. I know it's super vulnerable, and sometimes it's really hard to be able to say, like, I'm going for it, because we're so afraid that if we go all in and we still don't get what we wanted, then maybe we were never capable of it. And it can be hard to face that. But I'm operating under the belief that if I go all in, I'm going to get everything I want and more. And I'm truly going to believe that. And I'm going to look for evidence of it. And I'm going to love myself through it, even through the hard days where my brain says, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You're never going to get there. Nobody loves you. Like, whatever it is that comes up, I'm just going to keep loving myself right through it. And I hope you'll be there loving yourself too. All right. I do love you guys, and I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being part of this journey. And I will see you when I get back from the beach. Love you. Bye.